Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about the scene that we actually got at the end, well, it was kind of close to the end of The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2, Episode 6, and that is where we see Annie and Joshua, and I actually want to talk about the scene because there's a lot of details that I didn't know in terms of the actress actually did return to play Annie, and it was a little weird because you actually don't even see her face in the scene, so I was like, wait, if you're not seeing her face, like, that can't be the actress, because why would you get her back to not show her face, right? And no, apparently it was the actress actually. So she did return, and the fact that we didn't see her face and the fact that that was just like the one scene, I'm thinking that there's likely going to be another scene coming up here. And I do want to talk about, where they could actually go with the story for Annie and Joshua. And yeah, I want to break down the whole scene here. So before we go any further, definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. And so yeah, let's just get into this here. So in this episode, we actually do see Joshua, and it's the first time that we've actually seen him on The Walking Dead, because in The Walking Dead Season 11, we don't actually see him at all. I'm pretty sure Annie is just pregnant, and then we hear about him later on in Dead City, but we never actually saw Joshua ever. So it was just so cool to see the character, because that's Negan's son, right? Like, he's likely going to be a legacy character at some point in the future where he'll be a part of, I guess all the other characters are a lot older, but I mean, say like Judith and like Herschel, they're like in their late 30s or something like that. Joshua would be like, what, late 20s or whatever. So like, it'll work out in that sense if they ever want to do a next generation story. It was just really cool to see the character. And a lot of the criticism that I've seen so far of the scene has really just been that, like, that was it. Like, Annie and Joshua were there for like that short of a scene, and like Negan didn't even think to go down there and like talk to them. Like, I did think of that too. Like, when I was watching it, I was like, why not go down there and talk to them? At least just like say hi or whatever. And like, that's it. I think that it's one of those things where, like, I think, for Joshua anyways, obviously he's so used to being around his mom, but like, to see his dad, like, first of all, would he even recognize his dad, right? There's all of that. There's so many issues there that I think, honestly, that would be a really interesting storyline just way into the future, right? Like, Joshua talking to Negan and being like, why did you leave us? Like, you could have been with us. I understand certain things, but like, you could have, just been around us a lot more. And I think for Negan, he's just more in a place where it's like, if he's around them, he's going to cause them a lot more harm. And I do view it the same. Like, if you just look at his situation overall, it just makes a lot of sense because so many people want him dead, right? And like, if he's around them, it's just going to cause a lot of that. But then again, you have to look at Rick Grimes, right? Like, Rick Grimes, it didn't matter who wanted him dead. Like, look at The Walking Dead the entire time. Like, people wanted him dead the entire time, right? And he was still staying around Carl and Judith. So I think that will come up at some point in the future. It will be something that, I mean, again, if they do a next generation story, if Negan is still alive at that point, I think it will be a big part of the story because, I mean, yeah, like, I think, yeah, it's likely going to be a storyline at some point. I will say the scene was very cool, and I actually am happy to see Annie and Joshua because I just really thought that it wasn't going to happen, because just bringing them up in the way that Dama did, I was like, there's no way that they're just going to come back. Like, it was just so hard to believe that Dama actually found them, but I guess it's possible. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess that sort of thing there, like, maybe we'll learn a lot more details there in terms of how she did that. Like, I just don't know how Dama had the resources to do that, and like, it worked out. I mean, I guess if you think about what happened between season 1 and 2, like, it was a long time, right? So it does make some sense. Like, obviously Negan wasn't really doing anything for a while, so it does make sense. It's just one of those things where, when you first hear about it, it's hard to believe. Like, I didn't believe it at all. I kept thinking that, well, at some point, Dama's going to be like, yeah, I was lying about that just to get you to, do this or that sort of thing. But it ended up actually being true. So yeah, I was very surprised to see that. And so it was nice to see Annie and Joshua come back. And I actually want to talk about that. So according to @TWalkingDWorld on Twitter, I guess you could just watch the episode and actually see the credits there, but I didn't actually see that. And so the actress who plays Annie actually did return. So it was really interesting because I actually thought that it wasn't the actress because you don't actually see her face at all. And I was like, it's very weird that they're actually like hiding her face in the scene. It almost seems like she's intentionally looking away, right? And usually they do that whenever they recast the part. So the fact that it actually is the actress really tells me that we're probably going to see her again. There's no way that was like the last of Annie in this series here, and like her and Joshua are just going back. Like, this was a big part of the storyline here. There's no way this is just going to be it for the characters, and like, that's it. Like, we're not going to see the characters again, and they're just going to be sent back to, I think it was Missouri they were staying in, right? So I think that we will see the characters come back at some point again, and I think it likely will be maybe episode 7. It could be episode 8 as well. Like, I do think that something's going to happen there with the Croat. Like, I think that it's not going to be as simple as what we're seeing where the characters just go back. Like, they're going to be staying around here. And I do wonder if they're going to either kill the character off here or actually have the character be a part of season 3, because it really could go in either direction here, right? Like, Negan and I think the Croat are honestly in a really interesting situation right now, because they're both in a place where, I mean, first of all, the Croat, like, what happens to him in episode 7? Because he's working with Maggie, and I don't think it's going to end that way. Like, obviously, he's doing something there, right? Like, he's not just going to be wandering around. Like, maybe it's one of those things where he just wants to help someone, like with Maggie, or not with Maggie, but with Dama. You know, he was doing that. With Negan, he was doing the same thing. So I think that it could be really similar in that sense, where like, maybe he's helping out Maggie, but then he realizes in the end, like, no, I don't want to do that. And maybe he wants revenge on Negan. And I think that maybe that could lead to Annie's death at the end of episode 7, or maybe that's a finale thing, right? Like, we have to see Negan at some point Lucille someone, right? And I think that at some point here that could happen. Like, I feel like maybe if Annie does die, it's one of those things that really just like it makes him go absolutely crazy or just insane. Maybe it's Ginny's death that does that, but I just think it's one of those things where when it comes to Annie and Joshua's storyline, like, I just find it so like weird that the characters are even like out there and that they exist and they're not on this show, because they're literally Negan's family and they're just like out there. So I think the fact that we're actually seeing them now, it just like, you have to either have them on the show or you're going to have to do something where maybe you kill Annie off so that I guess Joshua would be with Negan after for season 3, which would be a really interesting storyline to actually see him, you know, I guess raising him by himself and just like that whole storyline there. And maybe there's some similarities to Maggie and what she's doing with Herschel. Like, that could be the direction that they're going in for season 3. And then Dwight shows up and it's like this whole thing for season 3, right? Like, I could see them going in a direction like that, but it's one of those things where I just hope Annie is on the show or they either just kill the character off, because I think just sending the characters away again, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, well, where are the characters? Are they going to be coming back for season 4? Or like, what's happening with Annie and Joshua, right? Like, they're out there and they're literally Negan's family, right? Like, they have to be a big part of the story, like you would think, right? So I get it for season 1. You don't want to introduce the characters right away, maybe because you're trying to set up a story with Maggie and Negan. But I think for season 2, you have the characters there. We've seen them now. You have to do something here. You can't just send the characters away. Like, I just want to see Annie a part of the storyline now. I don't want this storyline of just like, oh, the characters are out there somewhere and he's here to try and protect them, so that's why he's staying away. Like, I get it for season 1 and for a lot of season 2. Like, I honestly, I can totally just like accept that being a storyline. That's totally fine. But I just think that now that you've brought the characters onto the show, we've seen them now, there's no way the characters can just go back. So I'm hoping that that's not what happens here and that the characters actually like literally are going to be on the show. And again, you can either kill the characters off or have the characters on the show. That's fine. But I just don't want the characters to be like ignored, because it's one of those things that it's frustrating with the world, because like, there's the Commonwealth, there's a lot of other characters there, and it's just like, why are all these characters everywhere, right? Like, I want to see these characters more involved with the Walking Dead Dead City because they're so close. I want there to be a lot more mentions of things like that, and so that's honestly just where I'm at right now with that. I think that we have to see, you know, Annie and Joshua on the show, or maybe you just kill the characters off, but I don't think they're going to kill the characters off, but you never know. Like, it's one of those things where I just feel like the show has never really wanted to like acknowledge the characters, because, you know, it was very random in terms of how Negan, I guess, you know, had a wife and son, because like that was the part that I originally didn't like, was the fact that out of nowhere, over like a huge time jump, all of a sudden he was married, and it was like, wait, what? And I was hoping for a backstory episode at some point, but we just never got it. And then The Walking Dead Dead City aired, and like, you know, the characters weren't there. So it was just like, I always felt like the writers just never really wanted to, I guess, get into that storyline, because maybe they felt like Negan was more, I guess, devoted to Lucille, right? And so, like, I don't know. The whole thing here is just very weird. And I'm just like, you know what? I just feel like with this show, now that you've introduced the characters, you have to have them on the show. Like, I'm really hoping that Annie and Joshua are just going to be on the show now, because the story could be really amazing. Like, I just think it's one of those things where for Negan to actually have his family around in this situation, like, it just makes everything way more intense, right? And so I just think it makes a lot of sense, because otherwise it's just Maggie who has her son there and she's going through that. But if you have Negan actually have his wife and son there, like obviously it's just going to make it way more stressful, because now he's going to try and protect them and all of that, right? So I hope personally that that's what happens. I hope that we do see Annie and Joshua on the show here, and that wasn't the last that we saw of them, because if they're just going, back to Missouri, like it's going to be one of those storylines that's just like, wait, what? Like, why? Like, that makes no sense. And then, like, are you ever going to introduce them in season 3? Because, like, then it would be a whole thing of like, well, are the characters going to come back now? And then is Negan going to send them away again? Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that it would just be frustrating, because you can't keep doing the same storyline over and over again like that, right? So that's why I feel like Annie and Joshua are going to be a part of the story here. And it's going to be really cool to see, what happens, because I just think that it's not going to be the end, because they actually brought the actress back, right? Like, there's no way that that was the last scene there. And I think we will see them again. I'm just wondering if it's going to be episode 7 or episode 8. And again, like, it's one of those things where I'm just wondering if Annie dies because of the fact that we see Negan actually go insane. And I wonder if it's Bruegel that ends up killing Annie or something like that, because like there's been a lot of talk about the finale and something really crazy and like big happening. And I'm just wondering if that's what's going to happen here, is Bruegel kills Annie and then maybe Dwight shows up or something like that. And if that's going to be the cliffhanger for the season, and like that's just the talk going into next season, like what is Negan going to do next, right? And it's going to be, I think it's going to be really exciting. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here though. Definitely post all your thoughts down below on your predictions for Annie and Joshua. And do you think that was the end for the characters? Like, are they just going to be done for the season, or maybe for the series, or like maybe they show up at the end again? Like, are they actually going away or back to Missouri? Or do you think they're actually going to show up again in episode 7 or episode 8? And do you think they'll be a part of the story, or do you think the characters could die in any way? Definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.